Why did my freaking camera stop working? I've come back to my old setup with my Canon T3i. I haven't used my desktop for a long time, and it wasn't working. So what are you gonna do? I can see that we have no viewers on the live, so I am gonna bull crap a little bit. Maybe I'll zoom this in a little more. I didn't like the way that this looks. So let's see about that. What do we have here? 1.7. That's more like it. I think that's fair. That's better. Craziness. So it's literally nobody here. I set out this live stream with about an hour in advance notice. It's better than nothing, in my opinion. So that's what I'm gonna go with. So hopefully I always say I'm going to come and chop off the beginning, but I never do. This feels crooked. Let me see if I could do something about that. What's up, Basu? What's happening? BASU. Been a while. Man, I did not have a video ready. I wanted to do a couple videos. I have an unboxing video I want to put out, even though the last unboxing video didn't do well. It was the Mega. I don't think I titled that one properly enough. I feel like this is too high. What am I doing here? Okay, that's zoom. Steeper, what's happening? If I could bring that down a little bit, maybe. No, I'm gonna keep it up and then I'm gonna adjust it. So I had an issue with my original OG camera setup. So now I'm on my Pocket 3, which fills out the whole frame, but the colors are just like, meh. And that's me looking at the screen. Dang, look at this. Okay. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. I mean, I could see it too, so it doesn't look fantastic to me. But it's been a while since I've been in this area. This is my desk area. This is where I've done many lives. You know, the last live I did kind of back here somewhere, and the lighting was pretty bad. I wish the colors were a little more, they popped a little more. I don't know if I could do anything about that. All right, I don't want to get stuck there. How about that? So let's see here. This feels really all right. Just gonna move on with my life. Okay. First topic. There's I guess I'll start there. There's a new EV. I'm not in the market for an EV financially, but I am in the market for an EV emotionally. I'm just sick of I'm not sick of, that's not correct. We have like a 2011 vehicle that has been working fine, but it's starting to have issues as 100,000 plus miles on it, maybe like 114 or something like that. It's not driven a whole lot. It has never been driven a whole lot. We are not the first owners of the vehicle. It does not have a whole lot of miles or whatever on it. We had an issue with the transmission. Acceleration is, there's nothing to be desired there. And when we had the transmission go down, we started to think about I started to think about the possibility of having to get another car, another vehicle, and I wouldn't want to get an ICE or internal combustion engine. So I'm just not into that, especially since we have two vehicles, right? This is not gonna work. I need to pull this down. I'm sorry, sleeper. I know you said it's okay, but I'm going to adjust it anyway. All right, I feel better about that. So, Teslas are getting cheap. I'm not really into Tesla. I'm not necessarily a fan of them. I think that they do a lot of things well in the EV space, I was actually talking to my cousin who her husband acquired a Tesla, and I was asking her opinions on it. She was like, "Yeah, I don't really like driving, but it seems like they put a lot of thought into making the driving experience as painless as possible," which I like. I mean, you know, however you feel about Elon Musk, and that's not even him in his Doge role, but just him in general, let alone Doge. What a time to be alive, right? What a time to be alive in American politics. But I almost feel like every 2 out of 3 Teslas I see is ugly. And I haven't put in the research to figure out why some are unappealing and some aren't. Maybe it's just the early Model 3s are they're just terrible looking. I'm not sure, but BYD is yeah, they putting that heat on Tesla, that's for sure, and many automakers. But um yeah, they're not an attractive vehicle. I don't like the connectivity thing that they have going on with the internet, but that was from years ago. I feel like a lot of these EVs now need connectivity and all of that jazz. But there's this new Slate truck that came out, and it's slated to cost no pun intended. It's slated to cost maybe about, okay, here's the thing. I don't believe that truck will be as cheap as they say it would. I almost don't even really like the look of the truck. I guess let's do some visual aids here because I got some stuff. Where is that at? It doesn't need to be that big. I feel so rusty as it relates to sitting in my own computer area because I haven't sat here for a while. My wife has been on me about cleaning this particular area up, and I'm just getting to it slowly but surely, as they say. So let's present, share screen, window, this one, boom, dizzle. So I don't particularly love the look of this truck. I like it a lot better with its little hatchback thing on it. I feel like that's a little more whatever. But they're talking about how it may start at like 27K, 25.99, whatever. I don't believe them. And then with the $7,500 rebate, you could get it under 20 grand. Um, I think that's interesting. It's I don't go a whole lot of places, so this is appealing to me. I don't necessarily need all the frills that it's cut out. So the basic thing about this is it's very like it has nothing going on in it. There's nothing going on in it. It doesn't even have a display screen. There's no speakers in it. It's a blank slate, right? Some people have pointed out that it uses the same letters as Tesla, just rearranged. I think they call it an anagram, which I think is interesting. Let me address something really quick. Hold on. Because I guess I have to do it here and then holy moly. And then we're going to do all chat, pop out. And then we're going to hopefully, dang. How do I do that? I don't know. Maybe I'll just do it over here and that'll impact it. I'm trying to get this. I guess control, is it alt? Dang, that's not it at all. So I'm in I'm in a different browser too. What a time. Let me see if I can figure this out. I need to change the zoom. Control plus. Okay, let's try that here. All right, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work. I don't even know anything about BYD other than the fact that they're moving the culture forward with their with their features on these EVs. Sad thing about all electric cars is the battery and how long it will last and how much. Yeah, I think they've matured enough at this point that we're not hearing a lot of horror stories about these EVs. Are we? I don't think so. We had some bad stuff kind of going on initially. What is this? Okay. We had some bad stuff kind of going on initially, but what's up, Andrew? But there are cars out there with tons of miles on them, especially Teslas, where it's unfazed. There's some things that you may have to address. I've watched a couple of videos about that in the last few months. Um, but it's very interesting. I don't think there is as much concern as possible as we think, I should say. But um, with anything could happen to you specifically or me specifically, and then you'd have to deal with the fact that things being not under warranty and all of that jazz. An interesting aspect that people have been talking about in some of these videos is the ability to lease. And somebody made the point that leasing is it's funny because how they contrast them is like buying an EV versus leasing an EV, because of the depreciation on these EVs is so great. It almost makes sense to lease an EV. But commenter after commenter after commenter is always saying that if you buy used, you beat all of that. And that's really the ticket to most things, because cars have always depreciated at an alarming rate. But the depreciation on these EVs, they say, is vast, it's drastic. Like some people are missing out on as much as half of um, the value of their car in some of these like higher end EVs. I think the Hummer was like $100,000 car. You could probably get one for like 60. Don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to show the spread and what it was purchased for and what it's worth now if you buy one in the used market. Somebody was talking about the Plaid, I believe, and how it was almost $100,000 car, and you can get one for like 55 now. And a lot of people, one guy bought a Model Y for about 65 or 60, and he was sad that he could have got a Plaid for like 55 or something like that. So I don't know. The Chevy Equinox is an interesting one as well. It's probably one of the few EVs that when I look at it, I'm just not like, oh, this is gross. I bring all that up to say this, um, because I've also looked at the Ionic. Is it that? Yes, I think it's the Ionic, the Hyundai Ion or Ionic 5. They have a 2025 version that is actually not bad looking. The rest of them have been like ugly to me in terms of my taste. They feel a little too retro, almost like they're for like an adult man child who is stuck in the 80s or something like that. And I'm just not into it, this like retro look of them. Um, but I'm getting to the point where mentally it's like, man, I just really need, let me switch this. I just really need I need something to be able to use electricity, because the amount of money that you can save and the amount of what's the word maintenance that you don't have on an EV is just appealing to me, much in the way that a battery powered lawnmower was appealing to me over a gas powered lawnmower. When I had a gas powered lawnmower, it stopped working and I just wasn't going to buy another one. So much so that I bought a corded one. And when that corded one died on me, I ended up buying a Ego battery powered one. That actually wasn't the first one that I bought. I bought a Makita, but it was so trash that I had to return it. I mentioned this in the live stream a couple live streams ago. But the ability to drive around and what's up, 2%? What's up, Ellie? Before all the Doge, I looked at him, took it out, drove it, parked it, and never thought about it. We got a Lexus RX 500H. Lexus has some of the craziest naming. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what's going on with them. I feel like the Toyota, the Toyota's naming convention is kind of weird too. Um, I want to be able to save that money just for shooting from here into the office and running up the street, down the block to grab something from a gas station or something like that. I really am into the idea that if you spend basically $100 a month in gas or whatever people spend in gas, I don't necessarily keep tabs on it. It's almost like 70% less if you go with electricity. And I'm also a solar guy. So it's just like, I'm really there, almost to the point where I'd be looking at Leafs like, could I drive one of those just as a beater, so to speak? I don't think I could do it. Me being 6'1", I don't think I could hop out of a Leaf. But the practicality of driving something that has a battery pack in it with anything above like 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 miles is a good look for me. I mean, it won't be fantastic, but one thing I was talking with Setite about is the round trip efficiency of these EVs. And he sent me some super technical stuff that I wasn't able to wrap my public school brain around. But uh, the thing that the thing that is bothering me about the EVs is how much power it takes to fill up that kilowatt hour battery pack. So if a Tesla has an 85 kilowatt hour or a 67 kilowatt hour battery, how much power will it actually take? And the percentages were actually low, and even pointed out that level 2 charging was better or more efficient than level 1 charging. So it's somewhere around like I'm spitballing here, but like 10%. So if you had to charge a battery pack for however many kilowatt hours you put into the pack, if you add 10% onto that, then it would be an extra 10%. So if you're at 60% and you want to charge up to 80, so you throw, let's say 20 kilowatt hours in that dip, and then you add on an extra 10%, that's what, an extra 2 kilowatt hours. So instead of being at the level of 220, you would get 2 extra. I think I'm doing that math right. Don't judge me if I did it wrong, or do. I don't mind being judged. um, I think that's compelling. And even I'm just over it. Also, I like the acceleration aspect of it. The fact that when you put the pedal down, the car goes. I think that that's dope. Some people are talking about the ability or the inclination to drive conservatively or to drive like you stole it. I feel like I'm gonna be on the drive like I stole it side. I don't necessarily drive fast, but I don't drive slow either. I like to go. And that's actually, I was talking to my cousin, and that's actually the same with me as far as like walking. When I'm on a mission to walk, I don't walk slow. I move. It's like I'm trying to get from where I'm at to where I'm going. Now I'll meander, but when I'm trying to go somewhere or get home, or when I used to catch the bus, I move. So I'm going to be driving the vehicle, that's for sure. So it will have to be able to accommodate me putting the pedal down and getting it moving. Let's see. Here to show support. Got my solar system completed last month. Works amazing. Interesting, Red Bunny Classic. What's your solar system look like these days? I need to actually maximize this. What is this over here? Scene foolishness. Let's push that out of the way. StreamYard setup looks a little different. All right. So I also like the Volkswagen ID4. I like the look of that one because it just looks like a normal vehicle. But I'm picky about a lot of things, and the struggle that I'm gonna find in at whenever point I start looking at an EV is I'm not gonna buy new, so it's gonna be used. So no matter what I'm encountering right now as it relates to reviews and things like that, I'm gonna be looking at a model 2, 3, 4 years older. So I don't know how well I'll fare with a vehicle that old, which is why leasing came into play. Not necessarily for me. I need to do more research. I don't think I would want to lease anything, but I also didn't think I would ever want to pay a monthly subscription for editing software. And I ended up buying a subscription to Cyberlink Power Director because as I get more and more serious about editing, what I found is that after about 2 years, I will be probably looking to upgrade the software anyway. And instead of doing that, when you get the subscription model, it's affordable, by the way. That's the thing that matters the most, not necessarily the subscription model. But when you get the subscription model, you get access to all of the updates as you go along. So as they're improving the software, your features are not static, they're always evolving. That logic is similar to having an EV on lease because you essentially get to, you guys know the whole idea about leasing. You get the newest technology as you roll on. And I think we're in an interesting season or period of time where in the next, let's say 4 years, the technology is going to be moving so fast that you could probably lease, a 2 year, 3 year lease and then get into another one. Let's just say 2 years. I don't know how leasing works. Don't quote me on any of this. But if you could do a 2 year lease and then do another 2 year lease, by that time, the cars that we have, so we're in 2025. So by 2029, the 2025s will actually be worth the money used. Whereas like now, 2025 and then going back to 2021s, those dips, I don't know if they're necessarily worth it for my standard. So it's a whole like mental game I'm playing here in terms of trying to be able to make smart usage of the money that I'd be willing to spend on a second vehicle. And plus all of the benefits that I talked about before, which is a fast acceleration, I appreciate that. 6 times, you have 715-watt panels, a 5 kilovolt amp hybrid inverter, 24-volt, 250 amp hour battery. That 750, I didn't know they made panels that big. I thought the largest panels we had around these streets is like 550. Holy moly. This is interesting. What's going on with my face? Happy late Mother's Day. If she was around, I'd pass it on to her. I can't drive 55. No, I can't. No, I could not. I appreciate the coin droppage, Red Bunny. That's helpful. That's very helpful. So yeah, now the Slate situation, with it being like 26, 27,000, taking into account that tax credit, whatever they got going on there, which may or may not exist by the time the car drops. 20 grand is something that's manageable in terms of a car payment, especially for a vehicle that I would mostly use, but that's kind of wrong because my wife doesn't like driving the van without the kids, which I can't be mad at her about that because she was never intending to be a van mom. But you just couldn't beat the ability. We have a Pacifica, by the way. So it's not like a van looking van. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. I don't know if she would want to drive a truck, but that's why I like the hatchback look of it. Let's see. Okay, there we go. This is why I like this particular look of it more than the truck look. That is okay, but I'm not crazy about that. It feels it looks fine. It looks fine. And it has this like composite. That's interesting. It has this like composite gray thing. It's not painted. I don't know if you guys know much about it. I've watched quite a few videos on it, so I don't know how far I could get into it. But it's like a bare bones truck, a bare bones vehicle. It has like a 57 or 58 kilowatt hour battery on the base, and then the bump up goes up about 30 kilowatt hours, so it might go up to like 80 or something like that. And it's like 100 and something mile range. I'm guessing all of this stuff. I feel like this stuff should be here. The crazy thing is, I don't believe it's going to be that affordable. So, yeah, I think they're trying, and they're saying that the the reservations, I think it's like $50 or $100. They're doing pretty good on reservations. They're like flying out of the door as far as reservations are concerned. What is going on? It does have the North American whatever standard of charging. No, y'all can watch TV, no phones. And I feel like if the night goes well, then I'll give y'all some Xbox time or some screen time. So just deal with the TV for now, but no phones. Um, it has the Tesla charging on it, which is nice, I guess. Dang, it doesn't say. Okay, well, you would think that they would tell me how big the battery pack is on here. There's only two. Okay, what is the battery range? Man, I don't have time to be going through the site trying to figure out something so simple. It does look like a Range Rover. It looks like a Range Rover. It looks like a freaking Bronco. It looks like it looks like a bunch of things. It looks like a Cherokee at some point, a Jeep Cherokee on one of these. You could get it wrapped in some capacity. Some people are talking about the Toyota Tacoma. It kind of reminds them of that, like the small truck. And there's a lot of small trucks entering the. Oh, look at that! It looks like a Ford Flex there. That's interesting. Which is a popular vehicle for large families. I think it's interesting. The main thing is just going to be, is it going to be, yeah, that definitely looks like a Range Rover or a Land Rover at least. The main thing is going to be, are they going to be able to maintain a vehicle for less than $20,000 brand new? Can you get a used EV for less than $20,000? Absolutely, but this will be brand new. I'm also not excited about the fact that like people who are going to be on the bleeding edge, this vehicle is going to have problems. So I'm not a fan of that. But anyway, all right. Another thing that is interesting to me, let's see here if I could find it. This 450 watt panel by Zoupw, I'm just going to call it Zoupw, but it's Zoupw. Jason reviewed it. I saw, it's kind of confusing what I have going on here because my camera that I had here, the T3i, has a screen on it, a flip out screen, but I never used it because I would be relying on seeing my face here. But my Pocket 3 has a screen right here. So it's different for me to see that screen like face front. Okay. What we have here? I have way too many windows open. So while I pull this up, I don't really like to mix my browsers. So I'm going to have to unshare. Let's go remove, stop screen, present, share screen. And maybe what I'll do is share an entire screen. And we'll do screen 2, share. Then I would just make life easier, I believe. So we'll do a private window in Firefox, which is where I do all my Amazon shopping because I'm weird. And I like to segment stuff out. And then we'll add. And nothing's coming through. Why the heck is that not working? Okay, cool. There we go. I didn't add anything yet. So this particular panel is doing pretty good. I watched a couple videos on it, and it's a 450 watt panel by Zoupw Toscana, hashtag Olive Garden. And it it's I almost wonder if it's not a 450-watt panel, but it's actually like a 500-watt panel because it's performing so well. I think Johnny's Weekend has done a video on it. I watched Jason Noy's video some time ago. I actually wanted to give a shout out to this channel. I'm gonna tag them. And where are my notes? It's called Off Grid Solar Power is the name of the channel. So let's do that. Let's go to the YouTubes. It's a private browser, so it doesn't matter if I go to YouTube here, but I would not typically go to YouTube in an Amazon Firefox browser. I only use Google Chrome and Vivaldi for that. Vivaldi is a Chromium-based browser. So, thing is it gonna find her channel or their channel? Maybe I misunderstood the channel name. What's Darwin talking about? Her name is actually not Darwin. I just found that out. Her name is like Lynn or something like that. Okay, let's filter and then look for channel. See if that helps. Okay, here it goes. So we don't want you to play anything. Chill. So she has a video about, and it caught my eyes. Basically, the 450 joint versus the clouds. I don't know. I don't remember the details of the video, but I thought it was pretty cool that she made the video. I mean, that's something that people will want to see and be curious about and all of that jazz. But I like the fact that she's talking about life with solar. They're trying to be off grid. They're trying to be self-sufficient and all of that jazz. So it's like this panel was producing like 420, 365. That's a lot of power from a panel you can fold up and store basically anywhere. I think that that's pretty cool. Versus having a big old 400-watt Boujar-V, Renogy, whatever, EcoFlow. I'd be into this. If they wanted to send me this panel, I think I would love this particular form factor because one, it's portable. Two, it's more of a rigid style panel. Now, I don't know if it's glass or not, but it is a rigid style panel. So it could sit out a little longer than everything else. Flexible, even though I leave flex panels out in the yard all the time, all winter. Actually, I'm thinking about doing a short about the Elecanta. What's up, Mo's Prep and Tech? I'm actually thinking about doing a video about the Elecanta because that panel, it's a 120-watt folding panel. It has never come inside of my house. It's been outside for years and it's still working just fine. Had the EcoFlow out there for like a couple weeks, maybe a month and a half, and it started delaminating. The All Powers panel, which is, in fairness to All Powers, they are a budget brand, and it wasn't even ETFE, it was a PET panel. That one started to get weird and stuff like that. Who else? I have a 300-watt from Yolanis that started to do some weird, like itchy skin, flaky kind of stuff. That's one that I want to give away, but I haven't even shipped the two things to Farmer Marshall and Radiant Jasmine. So that's why I haven't talked about the 300-watt panel because that thing is kind of big. Not that that matters, but I haven't sent the two things to the two people who won that. So why am I going to put more stuff on my plate? Which I'm weird about. I did get the Sateki boxed up for Farmer Marshall. I am an awful Ivan. Very bad version of an Ivan. I need to be a better version of Ivan. But those panels have been outside. The Big Blue also, and the Big Blue is older than the Elecanta. The Big Blue panel, that bifolding panel that I have, it outlived the who's the people? X-Star, who had like the Jackery style panel. That panel I gave away because its output got a little crazy. It still worked, but its output was just so lacking compared to the Big Blue. Big Blue's been outside for years, still banging. They're both in lay flat arrays. I don't angle them or anything. They just sit out on my balcony. but them things have shown no sign of degradation or degrading at all. But anyway, I like the fact that what we're looking at here is a panel that I could put outside and deploy and get good power from a portable array. Man, that's dope. I actually like my Bluetti. I have a Bluetti 200-watt panel that I like to deploy out temporarily to get some good power from, and it will give me like 130 some odd watts, which I'm happy with. But having 400 watts, man, getting 300 and something watts, possibly even 400 watts from a panel array that's portable. Everybody every video that I've watched loves this particular panel. So if you're in the market, I have an affiliate link down in somewhere in the things. I don't think you'd be disappointed. Longevity is another thing. I think Gears and Gadgets or some other channel. He said that they have a 5-year warranty. Shoulder shrug at that. I don't think the company has enough name, brand, recognizability for me to take comfort in that. But I mean, it does have the warranty. Speaking of warranties, hold on. Let me see what y'all snapping and trapping about. Let's see here. One of my last goals is to buy a plug-in hybrid car that can use my excess solar when days are good and utilize it when days are bad as a battery backup. Yeah. Setai was actually saying about the Slate that he might buy that instead of buying like batteries. And it's the cost, if you take into account what they're advertising it for and the tax incentives, the cost is it's very comparable to just buying a bunch of 5 kilowatt hour batteries from like whoever. Who are the cheapest ones? Eco-worthy. I think they're like $900, something like that. They were $900 before all of this tariff stuff. I feel like this should look better for this freaking Pocket 3. I don't have a lot of light, and if I had the time, I would have set up lights to see if I can make this look a little bit better. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I tell people to never buy power station brand solar panels just on price alone. That's fair. Jason did a panel like that one. Yeah, he did. Have you thought about the Chevy Volt? I love the Bolt. I think it's the Bolt. The Volt is the old one, right? I like the EUV only in terms of what, and they stopped selling it. The EUV is something that I would be settling for. Like I said, I'm 6'1", hopping out of a little Chevy Track hatchback, which is it's not a good look. My particular style and sensibility, not that I'm a stylish cat, but I just can't see myself hopping out of a Bolt EUV. I definitely couldn't do the Bolt, but the EUV is like it's right on the cusp of something that I would consider as just a, I don't know, man. I don't know. I would much rather an ID4 if I could find one of those. And a lot of like back to the years point, you know, as you roll forward, you look at a 2029 and then I'd be buying like 2025s or something like that at a reasonable price. The Hyundai Ioniq 5. Oh, I love that Kia EV6, by the way. And they have an EV3 that is supposed to come to the States, it seems. But the EV3, people love that car. Let's do some things. Let's bring this down here. Let's go back to share. As of right now, this vehicle is not available in the States, I believe. And let's also look at the EV6. The EV6 is a little too narrow for me, but it's a nice looking car. Because all of the rest of the EVs are ugly. They're just ugly. They look all weird. They make them look all stupid and swoopy and all of this jazz. That's kind of why. Well, actually, let's pull that one up. So I don't know how to spell Volkswagen. Maybe I do. I didn't do that bad. I think I got it right. Let's see. That's a normal looking vehicle, right? Doesn't that look normal? What is the cost of that large panel mentioned? It's like $1 a watt. The Zoupw Toscana? MJ, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Good to see you. So the Renogy is $500. And let's see. That one is $441. It's actually on sale right now. So $1 a watt, and then it's not just $1 a watt on paper. It's actually $1 a watt in output. You don't get that very often. Maybe times have changed on your boy Ive. I don't keep up as much as I probably should, but $1 a watt for output is crazy because you would buy a 200-watt panel from Bluetti or whoever, EcoFlow, Jackery. Jackery's panels are pretty much outputting the same things, but they was like $2 a watt. So you spend, let's say 200, 300, 399, 350, 329 on a 200-watt panel from Bluetti, and then you get like 170, 160, 180 maybe, depending on where you are. I guess if you're in a place that's popping, you might get like 190 something, but that's at a particular point in the day and all of that jazz. Nathan, what's happening? Let's see. I just think it would be so cool to actually run an extension cord from my car to power my house during a power outage. Absolutely. I was talking to my wife about that. She was like, other than something or another, why do you think you want an EV? And I was kind of enumerating those things because surplus power, which I do deal with in the summer, could go into let me tell you a quick anecdote. The Tesla, let's say Model 3, uses about 300, let's just call it 350, let's call it 325 watt hours per mile. So that means for about 1,000 watt hours, so let's say your typical whatever, you could get about 3 miles out of that, which is not a lot. I know I think about these things in a very small way, but that's how my brain processes stuff. I got into solar to save pennies on my bill. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I was looking at it, and I have some 300-watt panels, which can produce about, let's just take their numbers for most people who kind of say you can get about 100, you could get about 500 watt hours per 100 watts. So that means each of my 300-watt panels would give me like 1.5 kilowatts throughout the course of the day, maybe more if I chase the sun. That would give you about what? My brain is going a bunch of places. It's not that I'm struggling with the math. That would give you about 4 miles of range, which is nothing. Just from the grand scheme of things, like thinking about what a big panel would provide you and cars using as much power as they do. And the Teslas are really efficient. At least they were efficient when I looked into it a year or 3 ago. Probably more like 2 years to be realistic. They're really efficient. They're watts per mile. So, excess solar wouldn't do a whole lot, but excess solar is excess solar. What's up, Chris? That's the panel I got on my Vine, my favorite. Yeah, I remember talking to you about it. You were saying how much you liked it. Everybody who I know uses that panel or has that panel, they really like it a lot. They're very impressed with it, and I'm impressed with it too. I don't even have it. I think I got all of this stuff. Like, look at that's a decent looking EV, right? It's not a decent looking EV, but anyway, okay. So this is the EV6. I don't like that narrowness, but in terms of an EV, it actually looks okay. Let's actually look at this Chevy Bolt EUV, which I couldn't do the Chevy Bolt, whatever. It would have to be the EUV. Let's see if we could find some. They may not even have these things on their site anymore because they don't sell them. Yeah, see, they got the Equinox, the Blazer. The Equinox is not, is okay looking as well. I'm not crazy about the back on the Equinox, but it's still fine looking, you know. And I also have to weigh. I also have to weigh whether or not my wife would want to be seen. What did they say? I wouldn't want to be seen dead in that thing or something like that. Um, I have to take into consideration what she would want to drive. So I'm always like showing her cars, like, what you think about that? What you think about that? But we may just have to be unstylish for a little bit, just for the sake of saving this money and this investment on an EV. And prayerfully, we wouldn't have any issues, which, you know, shout out to Jesus. I pray that we wouldn't. Some owners of Tesla had to buy a separate device to be able to use their car to power and vice versa. Yeah, that's some of the earlier ones. I don't think they had vehicle to grid. Oh, I appreciate that, MJ. I kind of I don't think I've been doing a good job of doing the lives regularly, which is one thing. Um, and then doing the lives in terms of bringing value to you guys. Like I think my last few lives have really been about me, and of course, there's a benefit in that. You know, I think that some of you guys are fans, and the only reason why I can speak about this is because I know how my fandom works. It's just like, yeah, you kind of want to know what's going on with people who you like their personality or whatever, whatever. But I think because of my infrequent posting, I really have to present something to you guys who haven't kind of been in the viewing ecosphere, something that catches you and makes you want to watch. Like I'm seeing the numbers kind of go down on some of my content that I'm putting out, which does not bother me. I'm not one of these people who is greatly impacted by numbers because I think I have the ability to, if I needed to put together a captivating, appealing video that will probably have mass appeal. My problem is that I'm so backed up in my content that I have to work through that backlog and all of the things that I think I'm continuing to learn as being a YouTuber. It's hard to apply that stuff to stuff that was made in an older frame of mind. Excuse me. So, but anyway, that makes me smile. The idea of missing the lives. I know less stuff, more freedom, living the van life is always asking me when I'm going live. When's the next live? Mainly, I think because he appreciates them. If he's around, he could speak to it. But what was I gonna say? Oh, he be out and moving and shaking and stuff like that. So he'd be wanting to be around. So if I could give him a little lead time, then maybe he'll be in town or wherever he is to be able to watch the lives. What is the Chevy Volt? A hybrid? I have I've drove in one of those and it was very nice as well as an all electric. Interesting. Let me see, did I miss anything? Yeah, I get that they want the EV cars to get good aerodynamics and a wind tunnel and all that jazz, but I think it's pretty obvious that people want a basic, normal-looking car that is an EV. Facts. Yeah, that's a fact. I don't know. Somebody can speak to the Chevy Volt. The Volt was the first one, if I can remember correctly. I think Setite was saying that the Volt was something that was interesting and compelling because it had a small generator inside of it that you could put gas into to charge the battery. So the car never ran off of an engine, but that generator would give it power when you got low on power, which I think is a fantastic idea. I don't know why we don't do more of that. But the BMW i3 or something like that, it has a similar option available. It's a certain type of, I think it's called the EXT or the EX for the extended range of the EV, all of that jazz. So it's a pretty interesting one. I don't like the fact that it has suicide doors on one side, but I watched a couple videos on it. This is what I'm saying. Like I've been really like trying to do a little recon on these EVs to see what I could tolerate just for the sake of when I have to run, 15 minutes away to do something, I could just jump in something small, get the job done. Didn't cost me anything because I'm a solar guy and just deal with maintenance and all of that jazz. I'm really compelled by that. But I don't think these cars are cheap enough for me to go that route. I think the BMW joint is probably like 12 to 15 or something like that. I mean, that is relatively affordable, especially with what these clowns are spending on cars now. You know how I know you guys can relate in some capacity, or at least some of you. My brain is like cemented in a time where cars were more affordable, and I refuse to be spending 350, 400, 450. There's people who is talking about they have $700, $800 car notes. And these is like regular people. And I'm just like, what is wrong with y'all? What is wrong? Man, 299, 279, 249, 312, 310, 330. Those are the kind of car notes that I'm not even used to. Those are the kind of car notes I feel like I can tolerate. Like people talking about $5, $6, $7, $8, $9,000 car notes is mind blowing to me. Mind blowing. So I need to be careful. Oh, the leg attachment is plastic on the Zoupw Toscana. Speaking of surplus power, I know this is off topic, but have you ever thought about getting a Harvest Right freeze dryer to preserve food? It uses a ton of energy, but I heard they are worth it. I don't. That's not necessarily my lane. So I'm afraid of canning because of that stuff you have to do, and you have to get it right, or the bottles can explode or something like that. And that's going way back to when I was watching the YouTuber whose name shall not be mentioned. Some of you OGs know who I'm talking about. But I was consuming some of that content. I was just like, man, that's intimidating. But I'm not really necessarily into food preservation. If anybody has to lead that charge, I think it'll be my wife. But maybe things change, Things change. I've never kind of gotten into that. I do like the idea of dehydrating food and then just adding water and it being more of a like it tastes normal kind of situation. I actually would like to get into, I was looking into some time ago, I was watching some comparison videos on who has the best freeze dry food. Now, this is a little, I want to say this is no shade, but it's a little shade to my Caucasian brothers and sisters. I don't trust everybody who's white, their ability to judge the taste of food. I just don't. I'm also from New Orleans, where food is like pretty like important to the culture. And when people tell me something is good, I'm just like, I don't know if I trust you. Even my wife, who in the particular city that we live in, she likes cod. And I'm just like, cod, that fish don't have no flavor. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? It's like, I don't trust your opinion low key as well. So it's not just about my Caucasian brothers and sisters. I got some smoke for BPs too. That's my code word for black people. I say WPs too for, whatever. So even though we do talk about race around my children, I talk about race a lot. So I have code words to not overly expose them to my particular logic and things that I'm sharing. So it's WP and BP around here. So if you ever hear me say that, that's what that means. All right. Let's see. I would like to thank you. I've been sitting on a dozen Mitsubishi solar panels for a long time, and you inspired me to hook them up manually myself. That's what's up. Shout out to you, David, for getting it popping. Ain't nothing like taking some panels that's sitting around doing nothing and starting to use them. A lot of people don't understand you can get good power on even overcast days. They can't be dark overcast days. But overcast days give you 10 to 20% of power output. If you take that into consideration, you have a 300-watt array. That's 30 watts of power that can come into your house. In an emergency situation, that's internet, which is super important. That's a light for 10 watts. You know what I mean? That's being able to charge a phone. That's, you know what I mean? Like that's being able to maybe run a small fan. So I'm all about using these panels, man. I'm hooked on it in terms of using them. I have panels that are deployed that sometimes I just have to make myself not put them out because it's not worth it to have a 100-watt flexible panel out in the yard when I could have a 200-watt panel or if I got a few 300-watt panels. But I still do it sometimes just to keep it a buck. I still do it. All right, later, sleeper. I appreciate you hanging out. The time difference is crazy over there. Across the pond, as they say. Let's see. Okay. Some owners of Tesla. Okay, I read that. The key with small solar and EVs is storage. You need a nice big 16 kilowatt hour battery to charge it up and hold for when you need it. That's fair. Nathan loves his Chevy Bolt EV. I think it's like a power station. My monitor is so far away. I'm sorry, guys. My setup is usually a little bit different, so I may need to pull this monitor a little closer. I actually have my monitor stacked up on two Motorola cell phone boxes. Those boxes are pretty stout, so I was just like, you know what? I need a little height on my monitor. I got two Motorola boxes. Made it work. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this over here so I'm not going as far off axis. And then we'll do this, bring that a little bigger. Looking at my power station, man, I got so much content for y'all. I live for a day when I can get such a grip on this content that I could put out 2 and 3 videos a week. I don't think the numbers are going to be good on them because I think you can put out too much content. I do think that that's a thing. Because people are busy, you know what I mean? It's like, and yeah, we make time to watch YouTube, but having to pick from 3 videos, it's just like, man, you'll watch which one most interests you, and then the other ones probably won't get as much play. But I really need to put these videos out. It's really, yeah. Well, we're moving on along. All right. Love. Use my Chevy Bolt. Used Chevy Bolts are going for $10,000 to $15,000 now. $1,000 now. Yeah. That Volt, you can barely hear that little generator. Oh, okay. The Volt, not the Volt. You could barely hear that little generator kick in when you need power. Let's see. My wife is addicted to the freeze dry apples I make. Interesting. Kids love the Skittles and bananas and the other candies. Interesting. Okay. Setai is around. How about that? If I don't tell Setai I'm going live, he may catch it, he may not. And he's not into watching lives later, which I ain't mad at him for. You're considered not a man if you don't have a fast car or a big lifted truck. It's whack. Hey, my wife watches The Price is Right all the time, and I don't know where the heck they got the EV costs on there. Find out where they get their real prices. You can get a, oh, okay. Let me see. What else am I missing? And those car bills are on top of their boat payments and their side-by-side ATV payments. So many dudes are like $100,000 in debt to keep up with the Joneses. That is crazy. That's bananas to me. I sometimes look at, now we are not a dual income family. So we made some sacrifices to live the kind of life that we live. So I kind of get that people with a dual income can kind of move and shake a little bit more than we can. But even still, I'm just like, man, That's a lot of coin. And food must have flavor. Yes, 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 it should. That would be a cool joint venture between your wife and you, preserving food using solar. Dehydrating is cool too. It's the freeze dryer junior food, just doesn't last as long. I'm not sold on freeze dryers, too rich for my blood. Maybe when I have enough veggies, I'll consider it, but I plan to can things. Fair. Let's see, my first list I put together with 3 kilowatts, but it's considering in boxes for a personal reason. I don't know what that means. I thought about dehydrating burger meat for emergency times. Use of solar. Not as complicated and expensive. Okay. Yes, I have a dehydrator. I also currently lost my eyesight, so please excuse any miscorrections in spelling since I'm trying to learn voice dictation. That's what's up. I'm sorry that you lost your eyesight. I don't know what that's about, but real men have tractors. I can't argue with that one. The tractor game is crazy, though. Those joints are expensive, and if I recall correctly, they be doing like John Deere be doing some wild stuff. Like you can't even work on it. We're really in a. I saw Louise Rossman's video about the DJI stuff. Said how you can relate to this. Like you have to create an account, and he's like, I thought I was buying a camera. I didn't know I was buying a freaking subscription or something like that. And it's not a subscription, but you kind of get the sense that you don't really own the hardware because you have to use an email address to use their app to activate the camera. That's crazy to me, but is it a hill I want to perish on? No. You know what I mean? It's just like I need to be able to put these videos out. I wish I could take a stand. I wish more of us could take stands, but it seems kind of trivial in the grand scheme of things. But I wish we could push back against some of the silly stuff that they be doing. Like you haven't done this in 4 tries, you can't use your camera. That's crazy. I actually need to look into a way to bypass that because you can bypass a lot of this stuff once you get into the more interesting side of things. I'm an Android guy, so I'm into things that are interesting. All right. I wanted to talk about the freaking this power station from Aferiy. I call them Aferiy. I imagine they must not like me mispronouncing things. But Jason and I did a video on it, but I can't remember much of the specs, and I didn't have time to rewatch or revisit the video. But he was very impressed with it. Longevity was, of course, a concern, but I think it had serious. Actually, hold on. Let's poke around here. I know I have this link up here somewhere. No, it wouldn't be there. I was actually talking to Sleeper about one. So I think it's the P. Shoot, I don't know. So it's the P10. There it is there. Yeah, yeah, there it is there, man. I don't know why I have. Can I hide that? Nope, doesn't go away. Fair enough. It's kind of stupid, but whatever. All right, let's share. Let's poke around. Let's poke around here. One thing I don't like is the AC plugs on here are very low. So that means if you have any right angle thing, you're going to have to use an extension. That kind of sucks. I'm not a fan of that. That's something that annoys me. You can see down here, if they'll show me. All of a sudden, oh, this is 3D rendered. It has app control too. That's pretty cool. I'm actually getting a taste of this 3 kilowatt hour life lately because I have the Tim guy. I don't understand why things are getting relative. I mean, I'm gonna scratch that for now. Meet the 2025. Yeah, this is not going well. Why is it bugging like this? Let's close real Amazon too. Literally not responding to what I tell it to do, which sucks pretty good because um oh, it came up now. Now it's responding. Okay, fair enough. Let's look at the specs. I mainly want to see solar input voltage range because I think it's a good range. One port, solar charging. Yes, 12 to 160 volts with a max of 2000 watts you can take in, which is fantastic. And I'm pretty sure it's going to use an XT90 connector because they favor those connectors, which is actually really good considering that you would have to put these panels in parallel. 3500, I think it's like a 3 kilowatt. What is it called? Capacity. Hold on one second. Inverters, pure sine wave. AC charging. The max AC charging input is only 1500 watts. That's interesting. I say only, but that's not fair to them. 1500 watts is good. It can take in solar and AC at the same time, which is nice. You would expect that, but sometimes it don't happen that way. Um, and it's priced decently. It's like $2,000. That's high. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I wonder if it's cheaper than that. And apply extra. Okay, yeah. You can save an extra $690. I don't know what Jason Noy priced it at, but there's a coupon here, so you could take a good $700 off of that. So that's actually not bad, considering that you get a 3 kilowatt, a 3000 watt inverter. I'm assuming I didn't see that spec sheet, but it has to be a 3000 watt inverter. Like, what are we doing here? Am I missing it? Manage inverter type, car power, input, charging time. Wait. It's like it doesn't really tell you in the specs, which I think is strange. Very strange. Oh, I did see something about it having that quiet mode where you could max out its charging at about like 900 watts or something like that. I'm looking forward to when I can get my hands on one of these little rolling Beasty joints, because what that means is if I wanted to, if it can get good solar in, what's up, JT? If it can get good solar in, I could get away with powering my entire house from that dip. I could get away with it, especially when my wife's not home. Hey, what's happening?
So, there's something that I can eat.
There will be soon.
Currently? Currently?
What?
Can I eat something quietly?
We don't have anything for you to eat. I know you were scheming on oatmeal. Yeah, Daddy will wrap up soon, and then we'll put something in the oven for you guys.
Like what?
I don't. You know what I mean? Thank you. um. Yeah. The reason why I bring up the Aferiy, one, I watched the videos across time. Jason always impressed with it, and I have their P110. I never made a video on it. You know, much to their disappointment, someone actually emailed me from the company, was like, "Hey, would you like to look at this P whatever, the bigger one of the one that I have, basically?" And me being the kind of person that I am, with the kind of integrity that I have, I was like, yes. But let me say that I have worked with you guys in the past and I never made the video. So I think what we can do is I can make 2 videos for this current device and maybe a short. I mean, I don't know what I may have mentioned, but I have to tell them that, we worked together before and I never made a video. Now, I did have one issue with that device. It beeps like crazy on the inverter or the charge controller, which I hate. I hate it. And my USB-A port stopped working. Like as soon as you plug, and I think my C works. Excuse me. I think my C works, but as soon as I plug a USB-A, because it has a bunch of C ports on it, it has 2 like A's and then like 4 USB-Cs, but they're 20 watts. And then I think they have 160 or something like that. I'm not sure. But as soon as I plug a USB-A cord into it, it just beeps. It just errors out. And I don't know what that's about. And I also think that the ports are upside down. And whenever you have a power station, just from me being in power stations for so long, whenever a power station has ports upside down, I always feel like it's cheap. And that's okay. Let me tell you something. I often wonder why all the budget friendly cheap devices have like the bi-directional USB-C charging and none of the mainstream ones do. And I'm annoyed by that. I can't lie. I'm annoyed. I have what is this thing called? LoomPal. It's not even LifePo. And I use this thing way too much. I'm trying to not use it so much, but it can dual charge, it can triple charge. Uh, you can throw 2 solar panels into the 5521 ports up to 100 and I think maybe a 40 watts, which I've never tested. I have 2 100-watt panels on it. And you can also USB-C charge at 100 watts, but it's not a LifePo. It's supposed to have a good amount of cycles on it, but it's funny because it's this mixed bag. I think ultimately with these budget power stations, you really have to realistically expect for them to die in about 2 years. Ask me how I know. Don't ask me how I know because I don't want to talk about it. But some of them are really like, what do they say? The test of time. Some of them are really standing the test of time. Like the Big Blue, for all of its charge controller issues that it has, that thing works. I use it every day. It powers a lamp in my living room. Um, and when I turn the lamp off, I use its light overnight to just give some light to my living room at night. Once we go to bed, just so that the downstairs is not completely dark. I've had that thing for years and it works fine. Still dual charges from USB-C to 60-watt inputs. And then it has 5525. You can triple charge that as well. The charge controller does not work very well, so I just stopped putting it on solar years ago. The same thing with the Oops 500 or whatever it is. It charges dual. You can do 8mm at 100 watts and you can do USB-C at 60 at the same time. It's bi-directional on the USB-C. I use that one mainly upstairs to run my kid's fan in the window. And that one works fine. It has an inconsistent or consistent fan that powers up for no reason at all. It's just on this like time basis that and it works. They work well. Whereas like my EcoFlow River, whatever from a mainstream joint, it stopped working. My first OG EcoFlow. And that one is, I believe, a replacement. It wasn't my first one. It got replaced. And the line that I used to tell people way back then is like, EcoFlow is good, but you might have to return the device once. I don't know if that's still the case. I do have the EcoFlow River Max, or River 2 Max. I don't use that one as often. I wish I had more USB-C ports. It only has one and it's bidirectional, which makes it problematic for charging other power stations. So I don't really use it as much. I power dump into it mainly. I just had a major power station go down, and then I had like a major power station go down to two. I'm basically out. I'm not gonna tell y'all which ones, but I'm out 1, 2, 3 power stations for a total of 4 kilowatt hours. Over the last few days that my wife has been telling me, she's been letting me know that the fridge has been off. And that's kind of embarrassing because me and my wife have gone through this thing with the fridge, and she doesn't like it to be off at all, which is unfortunate. Even though I let her know that you have up to 4 hours, so an hour should be fine, but she doesn't like it to be off at all. To her credit, she's not giving me a hard time. And she was like, "Yeah, what's going on with the fridge being off these last few days?" And I was like, "You know what? I have to give that some thought." And I thought about it, and I have a major power station that went down, 2 whole kilowatt hours of battery. Um, so I'm having to adjust, and that's where my weak point was. I lost that battery capacity. So now the fridge I have to just figure out a new system to get it to run longer, basically. Um, which my house is not running from solar right now because I needed the oven, but I've been running from solar for a lot, and I'm going to show you guys. Hold on one second. Let's see here. BBL Drizzy, right? While I do that, I'll see what y'all talking about. That DC input range is fantastic on that joint. Holy EcoFlow comeback. There's a bunch of stations that somebody reached out to me about an inverter. MXWY. It looks just like the Bourgeois inverters, which I thought was interesting. So I let them know that I was interested, but it was $160 value. This looks weird. This screen is weird. I'm gonna have to stop judging based off this screen on the Pocket 3. So screw it. Un momento, por favor. I don't even know what I was saying. I forgot. These companies making up fake words don't get to make up the pronunciation too. That's a fair point. Let's see. I meant to say I have 3 kilowatt of both solar and turbine that was sitting in boxes. Have not installed them due to a personal reason, but you got me inspired. Okay, nice. What are your thoughts on the new Bluetti solar, whatever it's called, to allow you to add tons of volts to their bigger? Interesting. I'm not familiar. Am I familiar? We could look it up, but hold on. Let me see here. I wonder if I could share this safely. We'll see. Dang, that did not go well. All right. Let's come here, and then my PC is really having a fit. All right. So check this out. I don't know if you can see it well. I'm sorry if you can't, but I'll try and describe it as best I can. Let's actually, can I move me? That'd be nice if I could move my thing around, but I guess I can't. Let's try this. So my average cost over this last period is 53 cents. Oh, a day. Man, when I'm telling you I'm winning out here in these streets, I feel like I'm winning. The most money I've used, I think it's right here. It was $1.50. Typically, my bill is like $3, $4. High end is $5, but it's right about $4. So I'm using cents a day. That's 11 cents, 31 cents. And what's happening here is mainly because when these higher days is like when I'm not fully on solar. So even overall, I'm just not using a whole lot of power because I'm having my fridge run from solar as much as I can. I'm having my 2 deep freezers run from solar as much as I can. Those are the main three big usages. I've been washing off of solar, hit or miss, because I don't think my Bouge-RV inverter, because it has this voltage variance thing that it does this soft start foolishness. But since I got the new inverter is just 119 volts, 120 volts. It's working fantastic. A video is coming about that soon. The battery video. I got a new battery. That video is going to be coming out soon. Soon, like maybe what's today? Tuesday, maybe tomorrow or Thursday. Once I get a cut done, I'll throw it up on Patreon so the Patreon people will be able to see it first. But that'll be coming soon. And so I've been really cutting down on how my house is using power by pulling some of my main things off of the grid and putting them onto solar. So that's what we're seeing here. But this stuff right here, so if we switch over to energy usage, right now we're in the cost tab. So if we go to energy usage, you can see my highest usage one day was 7 kilowatt hours. That's all I used the whole day. Typical for me is like 18, 17, 14. Over the years, you can see how as I introduced solar, it started to trend down. So I would get like to 12 and 10 sometimes. But now I'm at 7, 4, 7, 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 2, 0, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. A couple of twos in there. But I want to show you something as to why. So basically, the whole day I was off. There's no usage the whole day, and this is cooking. So using my stove or my oven, and it's been like that for days, and I love it. I don't know what was going on here. Probably Dell wanted to cook something late at night because she's a bum. So no usage all day, 1 kilowatt. I think my stove uses about 700 per outlet or something like that. Nothing. So up to Sunday, my stuff is 2 days behind. I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream. And right now I have 2 batteries that total at about 3 kilowatt hours of capacity. So if they are full, I'm sitting on 6 kilowatt hours of battery capacity, let alone how much capacity I can have in other power stations. And right now what I've been doing is my Duran Duran and my Alcatel are actually hooked into solar. And then I'm going from AC chargers to the batteries to charge them directly. I don't have solar on either of the batteries. I actually wanted to put those batteries in parallel to keep the voltage the same. No, I was going to put them in series. Your boy was going to go series. But then I had a power station die. And because I had that power station die, I had to, I lost my voltage range that I was relying on. And I just had to use the 2 inverters that I had on deck now. So it blew some of my DIY wind out of my sail. It was going to be interesting to kind of go down that path, but I couldn't. Let's see what my wife wants. She's messaging me. I don't have near phone around. Let's see. Was there something else? We talked about the panel. We talked about the power station. We talked about the EVs. Yeah, I think we good money. And I gave you the power update. Let's see what y'all talking about. Been holding out for a good battery unit that the price would also come down. The Pecron put out a new device today. How about that? Let's check that out. Rambling Bob did a video on it. I haven't watched it yet. Let's see. Check this out. Now, Minuteman Prep, it changed on me. Minuteman Prep was at CES, I believe, and this was the first time I saw it. I was actually commenting on Rambling Bob's video, letting him know, hey, go check out Minuteman Prep because he has actually put eyes on it. But this thing is a stack. I wish it would stop. Freaking clown. Let's hit learn more. This is going for a stack. And a stack has been nice to get a 2 kilowatt joint. But now this is a 3 kilowatt hour joint that's going for $999. If you are in the market, think about that Bluetti Elite V2. That one being $999 was nice. It had a 60-volt input limit like a loser, but in terms of capacity and size, it was actually really good. And being $999, $899 or whatever it was actually really compelling. I don't see any reason why anybody who's in the market for spending $1,000 on something wouldn't buy this one. Pecron is becoming one of the best budget brands. They're even putting features in their power stations. I mean, I just did the video on the Pecron E1500 LFP. Why are y'all streaming down here? What's going on?
I just came down here to get some water and ask you something.
What's up?
If I could eat chips quietly.
No. Because everybody's gonna want some. And y'all have shown that y'all can't do things quietly.
Can I have something to eat?
Nope, y'all will eat soon. I'm gonna be wrapping up in a few minutes. Go upstairs. Everybody back upstairs. Go. Nope. Go upstairs. No questions. You could get yourself popped. You better get a grip. Go upstairs, Mama. Thank you. Yeah. Let's look at some stuff though. Because I don't know how closely I looked at this. We're gonna go straight to specs because I want to see what kind of solar input this has. And the specs link is not working. How about that? I'm just gonna have to scroll down because I need to see the solar input. 120. I did see this. So it's 120 volts, which I'll take all day. It's not 150, but 120 you can work with. You can't do a whole lot with. You're going to have to do series and parallel if you had like 6 panels or something like that. So let's say a 40 volt panel, 4080. Yeah, that's like right on the money. And I think that that's fine. Unless you live in a really cold environment where the voltage has the potential to spike drastically, which most people don't. But I imagine that the voltage will probably give you a little cushion because it's 120. This is where, your Hobotechs and your Jason Noise come in because they'll test this stuff to the limits to see what it'll produce. But 120 volts, I could live with that, man. Listen, man. A tree grows in Brooklyn. Let's see what else we got here. AC input is 1800 watts. Smart app charging rate, blah, blah, blah. Somebody crying. The only thing, while these power stations are getting smaller, they're not necessarily getting lighter. So this would be a heavy power station, I would imagine. Let's see. Dimensions, battery type, weight, About 63 pounds. That's not bad. I wonder if it's actually going to weigh 63 pounds. Most of these power stations weigh about 60 pounds typically. So to go from 2 kilowatt hours to 3 kilowatt hours and only go up like 3 or 4 pounds is actually pretty incredible. So yeah, Pecron, good look. The whole Blue Eddy, the whole new Blue Eddy Apex 300 overall looks great. That voltage on there is 60 volts on that Blue Eddy. Unless they change something in the last whatever, I was greatly disappointed in them for putting a 60 volt input limit on those power stations. I'm just like, are you kidding me? That's pretty trash. 60 volts is just, it's not a good look. Again, shout out to Pecron because their E600 LFP has 95 volts. So you can at least put 2 panels in series. I'm like, what are we doing here? 60 volts serves nobody. It really doesn't. You can't even put, I'm sorry, I'm getting loud. You can't even put 3 100 watt 21 volt panels into a power station with a 60 volt input limit. I literally don't understand it. I think Oops has maybe the Mega 1. It might go up to 75 volts, which I can at least respect that. But Pecron has like 95 volts on some of these power stations. Most of them that have that little 5-pin or whatever connector. I'm like, what are you supposed to do with this massive system with 60 freaking volts? It's mind-boggling. I don't understand it. So that Apex 300, I don't know. I slap his protein shake out his hand. That's a Bill Burr reference. All right. I also went with a 48 volt system. Nice. I was trying to do 24 volts, but you know, stuff happens, man. Stuff happens, and it seems to happen to me a lot. Let's see. Information on a new anchor. I don't know anything about it. That sucks. After like a year of nagging, you were finally gonna merge some stuff. I know, right? I was just about to get into my DIY bag, as the cool folks say, and they consider themselves to be cool. But the solar 4X thing allows you to add, I think, 4 to 500 volts of solar into it. That's actually interesting. Let's poke around and see if I can find that real quick. And make some sense of this. Because even if the voltage goes up, but the power doesn't correlate, then yeah, it's helpful, but how helpful is it? Dang, I'm terrified for any of my power stations to go out. I know it's a possibility, but I'm just saying. The crazy thing is a lot of the power stations that are staples for us, I don't think they're going to have any issues. Like that EB70 I've had for years and it's still rocking. Hey, Sharp Farm Egg. I don't think that AC180 that I think you have. Do you have an AC180 or do you have an EcoFlow Mini? I think you had an EcoFlow Mini. I feel like you got something recently, but the fact that you have multiple is at least good because you can deal with the exchange and warranty and all that foolishness. I do want the AC180 to go XT60. I'm not high on my excitement about that one because it has 8mm. I really am really fond of XT60 these days. Plugs into the battery drastically increases the solar input capability. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Where the heck is it? Should I just go to products and then was I already on products? Accessories maybe? I'm guessing that might be it, maybe? I don't know. T500. Okay, this is a step down joint, which companies are starting to make those which is interesting. Like if you have high voltage panels, it'll step it down so you could throw it into power stations that can't take that high voltage, which is interesting. I almost want to say it's silly, but I've never thought it through well enough to have a flushed out opinion. Because I guess it's silly to me because if you have why would you acquire larger panels just to take and have to drop the voltage down? It almost kind of, I don't see a realistic situation where that makes sense. If you got an EV70, I guess if you had like some of those old sidewalk sale 230 panels, 230 watt panels from Signature Solar or whoever sells them, then maybe if you had one of those, you could take that. But why would you take two? Probably not. It's a good thing. Higher voltage lets you use smaller cables and put them further away. That's a fair point. Setice Tech Homestead Adventures, ladies and gentlemen, coming through with the information. I'm just going to search for this thing. What's it called again? Because this is not going well. The Solar 4X, 4X, 4K, 4K HDMI. What the heck is happening right now? I lost my comments. No, I don't want to talk because no matter what you ask, I don't have an answer that's going to work out for you. What is going on? Now they talking about confirming that it's me. Man, YouTube is a pain lately. It keeps telling me that on my computer they're seeing like crazy activity and stuff like that. And I'm just like, so it keeps signing me out of my computer. And I don't know if something weird is on my computer or not, but I don't know. All right, I'm just gonna have to work from within StreamYard. Options are good. I agree with that. But that dip from Blue Eddy is $500. It's like what solution in what world is that a solution for any to spend $500? You could just buy different panels. You better than me in terms of working through this. I lost my chat, so let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, I can't even copy and paste. So the Solar X 4K adapter. Let me try that. Let's maybe throw Blue Eddy in there. Okay, this is just a community post. All right, not helpful. Snap, I wanted to talk about the fact that Utah was one of the first states to allow for those balcony systems. Sleeper was telling me it's called a power stream. I've watched videos on it, but I didn't retain a whole lot of information on it because it's not legal here. But Utah made it legal. Me and Setag were talking about it a little bit. And I actually shot the link over to Jason Noy because I feel like Jason Noy is in Utah. And he was like, yeah, but there's no, what did he say? It was very pessimistic. He was like, yeah, nobody sells anything or something like that. I was like, yeah, but y'all made it legal. That means it's coming. Maybe, but it is. There's a Verge article that I have somewhere around here. Let me see. EcoFlow. Boom. Let's drop that here. EcoFlow brings its plug-in solar power plant to U.S. homes. Coming to Utah first as the country waits for a national standard. Now, you may look at this page and say, "What the heck?" But I don't know what this page will look like in Chrome because I don't use Chrome for anything like this. I use Verge, and it blocks all that foolishness. So it says the U.S. is finally getting a version of EcoFlow's DIY balcony solar system that I reviewed in Europe last year. EcoFlow says its Stream series will be the first plug-in solar products to go on sale domestically, allowing anyone in the house or apartment rental to easily lower their energy bill while also providing a modicum backup power if the grid goes down. Unfortunately, they're only going on sale in Utah, which recently approved balcony solar systems that plug directly into 120-volt wall outlets. No messy and costly interconnection agreement required with your utility company. EcoFlow tells me there's no need to wait for a federal certification standard under the NEC code or a tailored product safety standard from Underwriters Lab or UL. I love how they're spelling all of this out, as some have interpreted. Balcony solar systems have already seen widespread adoption throughout Europe. Sleeper actually has one. So he's able to pull in. He has some issues with his balcony. He was telling me, like, wherever he lives, it gives him a hard time for the balcony stuff. But you can pull in up to 800 watts directly into your outlets, kind of like the things we talk about all the time, the Chinese YP or YT or whatever it's called, that allow you to take solar panel power, go into these little boxes, and then plug directly into your outlet. The problem with those is you had to manually be on top of the power usage so that it didn't backfeed into your electric company, because you have to have an agreement with them to take power. And then some people have meters that no matter how the energy flows, they'll tax you for it. So let's say you're sending back 800 watts every hour. They just see that as energy flowing and they'll charge you for it. I don't know if that's still a thing, depending on the kind of meter that you have and all of that jazz. But this is pretty promising. You can be able to have solar feed directly into your electronic wiring or your electric wiring to have that power your loads instead of the electric company. I don't know how this is going to go over, but I think you guys need to be paying attention to it, and you need to be intentional of being willing to support legislation and stuff like that that will allow this. And I know that's not necessarily saying much, but if enough of us, you know how it goes, America and all of that. This is pretty cool. Now, I was asking Sleeper, and I'll have to watch some more videos on it, because my understanding is you could use them in conjunction with the EcoFlow, but I don't know. I don't remember. And what in conjunction looked like in my mind is that, let's say you have 600 watts of solar, 500 watts of solar coming in. Your load on your house is only about 200 to 300. You could take some of that power and put it into the power station. Or when the sun goes down, the power station can also be connected into the power stream or whatever it's called. And then that power station reservoir could feed power directly into your wall as well. Knowing EcoFlow, that should be a thing, but it may not be. That's how I imagine it will work. That could be even how I remember it working. But I'm not super versed. I'm just happy that this stuff is an option now, even if it's just in Utah, because I think that's pretty dope. A lot of people want the ability to use solar and not have to deal with the cost of what it takes to buy a battery. So yeah, pretty cool. Let's see if I missed out on anything. I don't think so. Grand Acres, what's happening? I was wondering about the longevity of the portable power station versus a large. Let me tell you something, David Nordenberg. In my experience with having so many power stations, so the odds of something failing on me is much higher than the odds of something failing on you. Maybe. I don't know how statistics work. I went to public school in New Orleans. I could tell you one thing. They say the battery is going to last for 10 years. I don't think the devices will. I can tell you that. I think that I'm loving the fact that the warranties are going up on a lot of these mainstream products, like from your EcoFlows and your Blue Eddies. They're doing like 5-year warranties. Account for it lasting 5 years, because we all know how that goes. The thing lasts as long as the warranty is out there for. And if you are lucky, if you believe in such a thing, fortunate, let's just say if you are fortunate enough that something lasts longer than that, then count yourself fortunate. That's all I'm gonna say. If something has a 2-year warranty, count on it lasting for 2 years. And then you may be you may be fortunate enough that it lasts longer, but yeah, that's my take on power station based on my experience. Oh, really? Okay. I'm gonna start check eBay to see if you could get one. Let's see. Hey, Grand Acres, good to see you. My meter was going backwards, but numbers are still going forward. Interesting. That sounds like it would be very convenient and simple for people. Yeah, that's the hope. Just had a Blue Eddy AC 200p go out. Really? Do tell. Do tell. What happened to your AC 200p? I am quite curious. Man, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But I am interested in what happened. But I'm gonna get out of here, guys. It's 9:06. And take care of these kids, get them squared away. My wife is not here. She had a thing. But the chat will stay live for a few minutes after I end this. I appreciate you guys. I hope to do more live streams. For those of you who are still here, my plan is that if I cannot put out a video that week on Tuesday, then I'll try to go live on Tuesday. Last week, I wasn't able to put out a video on Tuesday, but I did eventually put it out on Thursday, I believe. That video did not do well. I believe it's an unboxing of the Oops Mega 2. Go check that video out. It's a part of a saga with the Oops Mega 2 that, because you are here, I'll let you know it did not work out for me. I tried very hard to make that situation work because it was a banger on paper, but it just did not work out for me. So yeah. I'm gonna change the title though. I don't think the title is intriguing enough for people to click on it because it's just an unboxing, and unboxings kind of suck. I enjoy my unboxings. I can't lie. They're fun. I have another unboxing coming out soon where I unbox a couple of devices. I'm hoping to edit that soon. And it may go to Patreon. I want to put it out though because I want to see if I can figure out how to crack this unboxing egg, because I think my unboxings are better than most because my personality is better than most. That's what this, I've been in, you know, I've been an odd my whole life. So I'm fond of me. All right, y'all. I gotta go. Y'all be beautiful.